ShartimusPrime, ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it. Taking bad hits, taking bad shit. Subscribe.
Hey, what's up, you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Invincible action figure review on actually not one Invincible figure. We're looking at 0 Invincible figures, but from the Invincible Amazon Original Series by Diamond Select Toys, we have the Invincible Adam Eve, we have Robot, we have the Monster Girl Deluxe set, we have Duple-Kate, and we have Alan. And I gotta give a big thanks to Diamond Select Toys for sending some of these to review for you guys. I did pick up this Monster Girl over at BBTS, and I've had all of them sitting around. I wanted to do an all-in-one video, so from Wave 2, you can see we have Adam Eve and Robot right there, Monster Girl being the last one that's come out, and then Duple-Kate and Alan right there for Wave 3. And then you can see on the back there are product shots of the figures with their corresponding wave, and then of course Monster Girl right here gets her own images right there on the back. So we have read-ups for everything. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause it right there for Robot, right there for Adam Eve, right there for Monster Girl, and right there for Monster Girl again. And we have the read-up for Alan, and there's the read-up for Duple-Kate. We have windows creeping up on the top right there. On the side, you can see we have the numbers corresponding to their release. So this is the most recent one, obviously. Let's get to it and crack these things open. But first, if you're trying to get your Invincible figures, you can do so at
Big! Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
And here are all the figures out of the packaging. Looking pretty good. I actually really like the aesthetics for all of these figures over here. They look pretty awesome, and they look accurate to both the cartoon and the comics, so I am pleased with that. Well, there's differences, of course, like obviously right there with Adam Eve. And by the way, I do have a pink light shining on there. She does have clear effects pieces instead of pink effects pieces. So while I do mostly like the figures, there are definitely gripes that I have with them at the same time. So we'll get into all of that stuff, but first we'll take a closer look at each of these one by one, and we'll start with Adam Eve. So here's looking at Adam Eve, and she doesn't look too bad. You know, it's just not ideally what I thought of when I think of the comics or the show, but, you know, it looks like Adam Eve enough. I feel like her eyes are staring a little bit apart from each other, you know what I mean? I don't think they're centered properly, but it's an okay looking figure. It does have that animated look to it and everything, and I mostly do like the paint apps. The deco came out pretty good on the chest right over there. And it's fairly solid. This is the animated version where she has the shorts, so, you know, they had to kind of censor that out, I guess. Couldn't have this riding up too far. A little bit of paint smudging right over here, which tends to happen. The QC on these figures, as far as their paint and plastic quality goes, is a bit sketchy here and there, and I will get into that. I did have a break on one of the figures, so I will get into that later on. But yeah, you can't really move this around too much right here at the cape. I don't want to break that off or anything. She comes with a ton of interchangeable hands, but she also comes with the shrinking ray right here, R-A-E, and it looks pretty good. I mean, when you really zoom in on the head, it does look a little funny, but for the most part, you know, and each of these characters kind of emulates a superhero that we were already familiar with, you know, like Adam Eve over here is kind of like a Green Lantern type character, but all of her constructs are supposed to be pink, but these are just translucent clear plastic. So I had to get a light shining on it, as you saw earlier in the video, for that to work. So these plug into the bottom of the feet. She comes with fisted hands with her effects right over here. So there that is. She actually manipulates matter. She doesn't just make constructs. She can manipulate matter to do whatever she wants it to be. I'm just saying Green Lantern's like the closest character that she kind of reminds me of, or her power set reminds me of anyway. She comes with some open hands over here. She comes with some gripping hands over here. Some other gripping hands over here as well. And a flight stand, which I am not the biggest fan of these Diamond Select flight stands. They're a bit wobbly. This one actually did snap on me at one point, but it is cool that you could tighten them up and then you could interchange these sections over here. So we've seen these before from Diamond Select Toys. I don't want to get too deep into it. Right here, it was this peg that snapped off on me. And then here's Robot, which I think obviously kind of resembles Iron Man the most if you were to compare him to another character. And I think the Robot from the show is actually really teenager, right? So Robot and Monster Girl are an item. It's like that in the books as well. But I do like how this came out. I think the paint apps look pretty cool. Just minor scuffage from not a whole lot happening to it, which does bum me out a little bit. And I do like the design of it. You have this plate right over here, right above the diaphragm joint, and you could see where he could plug in over there. So that's pretty sweet. And there's some details on the inside of this piece as well. So that's pretty cool to have. And then you can see the joints on the figure over here, and it looks pretty nice. I do like this figure. This is one of the ones that I actually prefer out of all of them. So it looks pretty good. He has a back port right over there if you want to put him on a flight stand. And then he comes with a bunch of interchangeable hands. You get this plug-in piece right over here for the left hand. And then you get an even set of these open hands right here. An extra left gripping hand. An even set of grabbing hands. And another set of grabbing hands. I mean, you don't need this many hands. I just think it's a little excessive. I would have preferred to have some other accessories, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, and he comes with one of these flight stands with the base as well. And here's looking at Alan, which is one of my favorite characters from Invincible. You gotta love Alan, right? And I really like this head sculpt. I feel like the paint does get a little sketchy on the edge right over there, but it mostly looks really good. A little bit glossier than the other figures. I will say the light does shine on it quite a bit. I have a lot more hot spots with this figure than the other ones. And then you get an alternate head with Alan as well. And you can see he's got the brow up there like that. I find Alan's the easiest to swap the heads with. Some of the other ones, and I'll get to Monster Girl a bit, I did have a hard time swapping out the parts for Monster Girl. But yeah, this figure does look pretty clean. I will talk about the articulation of the figures in a moment, because yeah, you're looking at these pinned single jointed elbows, and they are totally there. He does have a back port. He comes with one of these stands instead of the other flight stand that we were looking at, so I do prefer that other one over this right here. But the paint looks mostly pretty clean on this figure, and I do think it looks pretty good. I like how bulky he is, as he should be and everything. And there's the Allen toes, and he does come with a whole bunch of accessories. I didn't mention earlier, you know, all the figures do come with fisted hands. He does come with a whole bunch of other hands. He comes with these wide open hands, these open hands, gripping hands, tighter gripping hands, and pointing finger hands. It's just, I think, a little excessive. A lot of extra hands that I'm not really going to use. And I forget what these are called, and if I remember correctly, I think these are used for him to communicate with other species so that they could just speak to each other back and forth, if I remember right. He does come with 3 of them. You get this one right here, you get another one right here, and then you get like a more face-hugging one right over there. I like the detail for the brain. Then you get Alan's food right there, not looking too shabby. I believe this is his food, if I can remember right. They have little mouths on them right here. I think these things are still alive, right? And then he comes with this device right over here. I think this is supposed to help him find Earth, or Urath right here, by accident. Or he found Earth by accident instead of Urath. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I think I had him holding it upside down when I took a picture of it, so oopsie. And you can see some of the paint coming off in the armpit right over there. So yeah, the paint apps on these do wear rather easily. I do feel like there is a fragility to these figures. And here's looking at Duple-Kate, which is actually one of my favorite figures of all of these. I really like this figure quite a bit, and I have 2 of them. I am probably going to get more. We have 2 head sculpts over here, so you can see there's an angrier head sculpt on this one. This right eye placement is pretty poor, though. I don't like that at all. I do like the color of the hair, though. It almost looks like it has a little bit of a bluish hue to it. It's very, very subtle if it's actually there. But it's really black, you know. But for some reason, I'm seeing a touch of blue. I am seeing a touch of blue. Super hard to see. But I like the head sculpts right there. But I also love that she comes with numbers. Yeah, there's 2 sticker sheets right here. And if you want to get multiple Duple-Kates, well, you could go ahead and peel off the 1 and then go ahead and slap a 2 on there, which is great. Now, what's really fun about this character is that, and this is kind of like a thing that I've always imagined for street humans, or an inspiration for street humans, is that there's a lot of gore and, you know, destruction with the duplicates, you know what I mean? So you could go ahead and unplug the arm and then replace it. Oh god, swapping them out is a little bit tricky. I find myself having to heat them up all the time, and I don't want to break anything while doing this because I don't feel like heating it up right now, but you could hear it snap back in. But yeah, that is tricky, popping them on and off. I definitely had to heat them up. So that looks very cool over there. Looking at the rest of the body before we get into more of the accessories though, I think it does look pretty good. So, you know, the paint apps aren't really too crazy, and same thing with the sculpt, nothing too insane or anything. And she does come with that same larger stand with all the different swappable parts for the stand right over there. But yeah, she also comes with dismembered, you know, gushing gore effect right over here for this right leg, which you could pop off and you can see the peg right over there. That ports in like that. You also have the option of removing this and then porting this in right there instead, and then attaching the arm to it right over here. So if you want that to happen, that looks pretty cool. You could do a similar thing with this accessory right over here with the leg, where you port this onto the leg and then port the thigh piece on right over there, and that looks pretty cool as well. And then you have a separate dismembered left arm just totally busted over here, and then you have a separate right leg that you can just leave on the ground right over there. So yeah, that's pretty gnarly. I do like that. And then on top of that, you get a bunch of interchangeable hands. You get these open hands, you get slightly gripping open hands as well, tighter gripping hands, and karate chopping hands right here. Whoosh. And then here's Monster Girl, and we all know which character this was inspired by, right? Yeah, the Thing, of course. No, obviously the Hulk. But I like the head sculpts over here. I really like this character a lot. Very sad character. Every time she hulks out like this, I think it kills her slowly, or it makes her even younger, if I'm trying to remember correctly. It's been a while since I read the books. And yeah, I'm on episode 3, season 2 of Invincible right now. But this head sculpt right here with the smile and the smirk looks cool. You know, I wish they had a little bit of paint to help define the mouth right there, but still, I do like it. And then she has an interchangeable head right here where she's all angry and everything. And again, the eye placement is a bit off. It looks a little cockeyed, or one eye is out. Whoever was in charge of the right eyes is kind of slipping over there. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but still happy that she has the angry head to go along with it. And the figure doesn't have any paint apps on it or anything, but I will say I really like the sculpt of it. It looks really good. It looks very clean. However, you know, these figures are scuff and dust magnets, though, I will say that. But it does look cool. She has a cute little port right over there for her. You can't get this thing on a stand at all, man. There's no way that's happening. But yeah, it does look good. I like the wraps right over here. And the loincloth is all fairly stiff plastic, which, you know, it doesn't really hinder the articulation, so I'm not really that bummed out about that. I am bummed out about this, though. I recommend not even interchanging the hands. This left hand right here, I actually had this break on me on another one, so I was lucky to get a replacement. But you can see right here, while heating this up and trying to pop off the hand, I actually took it off right over here instead. So be mindful of that, and I didn't even really care for the other hands. Like, I was just fine having her with the fisted hands, and when I put this back in here, it's all super loose and stuff. So when I did get it to work, it just does not work out the way I would hope it to. So yeah, you can see how that's all loose. So if you have this figure and you haven't swapped the hands out yet, well, I recommend not even bothering doing that. Even though she does come with a whole bunch of interchangeable hands. I like that they painted the toes right over there. Looks pretty good, but they didn't just paint the toes, they painted the fingernails as well. So you can see that she does come these wide open hands right over here, and all the fingernails are painted. So that looks pretty good. And then you get these tighter gripping hands right over here. And then you get the powered down version, which looks great, you know, which looks accurate to how I remember the powered down Monster Girl. I can't remember her real name off the top of my head, but yeah, the eyes look pretty clean on this, and it looks pretty good. Very limited articulation. You just get the ball joint at the head, and then the arms move forward and back and outward, and you have a waist cut right over here as well. So pretty clean. It's an accessory, you know, so you just put that there in front of the Monster Girl powered up mode so you can get that transition look if you want to. I like doing that with my Hulk figures, so probably going to do that with this as well. So I'm not going to do a thorough articulation segment on all of these figures, but we'll use Robot over here. We have a ball joint at the head. Some of them look up a little bit more than others, but none of them really look up that well, to be honest with you. I guess Alan is better. And then you get side-to-side motion at the head pivoting, And then you can move shoulders outward, rotate a full 360. They all have bicep swivel. They all have single jointed elbows, wrist turn side to side, hinge up and down. They all have diaphragm cuts. Monster Girl is the only one with a waist cut right here on top of it. And then their legs will move forward and back. We get a thigh cut right here on all of them. Sorry, they all have thigh cuts, except for Monster Girl. She does rotate at the top of the thigh a little bit, but it's not a thigh cut. And then, oh, there she goes. They all have single jointed knees that bend in about 90 degrees, and the ankles will move down, up, and they all have beautiful ankle pivot. Well, this one's ankle pivot isn't the most beautiful. I feel like the foot is going to pop off due to this whole big round joint right over here, but it works better on all the other figures. Now, to measure out these figures, you can see that, of course, Monster Girl is standing the tallest over here at around 9 inches or so. Yeah, about 9.5 inches tall. And then the just girl part right here is about 5.5 inches tall. Duple-Kate looks like she's at about 6.5. Alan over here looks like he's at around 7.5. And then Robot, just at around 7.5, and then Adam Eve is at around 7, and then you can see Shrinking Ray is at about 2 inches tall. Then for Diamond Select Toys Invincible figure size comparison, you can see we have Invincible and Omni-Man from Wave 1, and I got that scuff right there on Omni-Man, some scuffs over there. Like I said, these guys scuff easily. Do like the improvement on the articulation around the hips. This is a little bit more old school, this is a little bit more new school, but still, the articulation on the figures is just not the best. Kind of bad, but sufficient at best. Then I have just a couple other more size comparisons for you. Here is the Diamond Select Toys Adam Eve statue right next to the Adam Eve figure. I don't know why they had to change the design and give her shorts instead of, giving her like the, I don't know, swimsuit kind of look, which I really like. Have her gringuita nalguitas right here showing off. I don't know. And then you can see the effect piece is pink instead of just the translucent clear. But I like this design more. I always thought it was pretty cool. But I mean, this isn't terrible or anything. I don't get why gore is okay, but not too much thigh or butt. I just don't get it. Then here's Robot next to the Controller Build-A-Figure Waves Iron Man figure. And when I first saw this Iron Man, it reminded me of Robot. And now that I have Robot right here next to Iron Man, this Iron Man reminds me of Robot. I mean, don't they look similar? No? Am I the only one who's seeing the similarities over here? I mean, if it wasn't for the slanted eyes plus the underbite, that's what really makes it look like Robot to me, right? It's just too similar. You guys see it? Am I alone here? I already know I'm not. Then here's Monster Girl next to the Marvel Legends 80 Years Hulk, and then we have the Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select Immortal Hulk, and it looks like Diamond's been pretty consistent, cross franchises with these two figures over here that are at about the same height. And this is a pretty hefty figure as well, so yeah, she definitely has a lot of bulk. Then here's the Invincible figures. Next to your average 6-inch scale figure, we have the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. Oh, usually I'm scared of big, hulking, green, buffed characters like this, but I know that fist doesn't work. I think it still spins, right? Does it spin? Does it spin? Let's see. Yay! So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to show some love to the channel by simply clicking that like button. And if you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Got a whole bunch more content coming your way on this channel. And these figures are especially fun for me because I really love Invincible. I'm really liking the show, even though I do think I like the books more already. I don't know, there's something about the show. It has a different vibe. I think there's a lightheartedness with the comics that just isn't there with the series, but I think the voice actors are great. I think Steven Yeun is doing a fantastic job of playing Invincible, so it's nothing like that. It's not the animation itself. It's not the shorts on Adam Eve. It's none of those little things. It's just the overall pacing and the vibe of the show just seems to be a little bit slower and a little bit darker than what I remember from the books. Even though the books has all the same kind of drama and gore and all that stuff, but it's written differently. So anyway, I do love these characters. These figures, on the other hand, aren't really the greatest, but I'm really, really happy to have them, and they're the best Invincible figures, or these Invincible characters that you can get, So I think they did a pretty good job with the aesthetics. That's my favorite part of them. They're not the most articulated, but the articulation is enough to where you could sufficiently pose them the way you'd like to, for the most part. Of course, there's some frustrations with that. Then taking into account the QC issues, I broke one of the stands. I broke, one of the figures. So there are those and little scuffs and stuff like that. So thinking of all that, taking that into mind, I'm going to rate them as a whole over here. I'm going to give them all a Sud rating of...
It's not too bad.
And I'd like to know what you guys think. One thing that does bother me about all of them is that I have a hard time squeezing the legs in, and I did need to use sticky tack to get the shrinking ray to stand. So, you know, there's, I think, equally enough gripes amongst all of the figures, but the Duple-Kate is especially very cool, and the Monster Girl. I think those are my two favorite, or the Duple-Kate and Monster Girl. But anyway, let me know which ones your favorite are, and stay tuned for more coming to the channel. You can follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and on whatnot, and I will catch you guys later. Peace!
That's crispy.
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.